Good morning, everybody. My name is Omei Bogos Ikwe. I'm an editor. I work in public health as well. I live in Abuja.
Good morning. My name is Fasasi Sadiq. I'm a networker and I live in Abuja also.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Emmanuel Oji. I'm a legal practitioner based here in Abuja. Thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Juliana Erime. I'm a civil servant and I live in Abuja. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Titus Amacho. I'm a businessman.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rose Okafo. I'm a volunteers team lead and I'm based here in Abuja.
Good morning, all. I'm Mrs. Helen Omaro, a retired civil servant and based here in Abuja.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Usman Ogosi. I'm living in Abuja, I'm a student.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alden. I'm a civil servant.
Good morning, all. My name is Gladys Ogubike, a civil servant based in Abuja.
Good morning. My name is Elsiba. I'm a content writer.
Good morning. My name is Omale. I report for Radio Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Chang. I'm a civil servant based in Abuja.
Good morning, all. My name is Abraham Ojone Juliana, science educator.
Good morning, all. My name is Margaret Ahmed, National Orientation Agency. Yes.
Good morning, all. My name is Queen Steve Omom, National Orientation Agency here in Abuja.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Guy Stan from National Orientation Agency.
Good morning, all. My name is Chikeze Pascal from National Orientation Agency.
Good morning, all. My name is Joshua Power. I'm based in Abuja.
Good morning, all. My name is Eric Gimba, civil servant living in Abuja.
Good morning, all. My name is David Emoidime Sunday, a businessman living in Abuja.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Isaac Babarumaru. I'm a journalist.
I'm Jan Fomakio, philosopher and a business person. My office is here in Maitama. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nafisa and I am an intern.
Good morning, my name is Aziza. I'm also an intern.
My name is Eunice Gende. I'm from National Orientation Agency.
Thank you. Is there anyone that have not introduced himself? I believe I saw some people walking in.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gloria Dashi, National Orientation Agency, Abuja.
Good morning, all. My name is Chiwon Karola. I'm the Assistant Director, Special Duties National Orientation Agency, representing the Director here. Thank you.
Wow. It's like some of us are hiding our talent. Except this my guy. That's good. It shows that we've worked on ourselves so well that we're able to manage our... But I know today is our day. As the program commences, we should be able to show there's a benefit to it. I was reading online, it said that stammerers are patient people, stammerers are creative, they're intelligent, so it's a good thing for us to be proud of who we are. Then the next thing that we need, the welcome remark. I will call on the Executive Director of Stammer Foundation. It's not easy to run an NGO. It's not at all. And a lot of work have gone on to ensure that we are all gathered here today. And me, myself, I have an NGO and I know what it takes. So I want us to give a rounding applause to Barrister Juliana.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to the International Stammering Awareness Day. And I hope that you're able to hear enough stammering today. I'm sure it's going to fill your tummy and you'll feel very good. So please, for everyone that's coming here, try and give us a little dose. And I'll also try to, I hope it comes out very well. Yeah, so my name is Juliana Obo Joseph. But some people know me as Juliana Imam because that's the name I use for my social media business. I want to thank everyone for coming. It's really humbling to know that on a Tuesday morning, people leave their various businesses and work and find time to be here. Stammerfoundation started last year. I decided that it should be registered. But I'm not going to go into the details of how it started because there's a time to say that. I just want to say that you're welcome to this event. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope that you have a nice time and that you are informed and you are aware about the needs, the rights, and the values of people who stammer, and whatever wrong mindset that you have already about people who stammer, that you take it away. Because I know that from talking to some people, they say that people who stammer are very angry people, not easy to work with, that they flare up a lot and all that. But I hope that as we go through this event, that we're able to understand who we really are and know how to work with us. So thank you very much for coming and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.
I'll rise, and with time right by my side, I'll walk, I'll run, I'll fly, I'll soar. I may be short-sighted, not looking back or seeing what is to come, but I'll run with so much force as to break a mountain unscathed. And if there be valleys, I'll use my faith as parachutes. I'll stand, comfortable in the clouds of victory, of knowing, of becoming, and of being the one true definition of success. And if my back touches the ground, I'll fight the fear to keep on falling, to coil into defeat, to say, but really, I tried. I'll shut my ears to the cooing of self-pity. No, I won't drift. These eyes won't wander to easier paths. I'll fight, I'll stand, but never will I say it's over. And if these hands try to choke my dreams, I'll fight. If my legs scream weak, I'll walk on my hands. But that finish line, I'll not only cross it, I'll own it. Thank you.
I remember in the university too, when you carry expo, whenever a lecturer comes around you, you start having vibration. I have a friend like that too. He was carrying shukuli. So when the lecturer was getting closer to him, he was just vibrating and sweating. The lecturer said, "Are you okay?" "Yes, ma'am, I'm okay." You know, but it's a wonderful thing to be a stammerer. One, we are going to be talking about the mind over matter. And our next facilitator is Ome Bognos Igwe. She's a copy editor with a public health background. She has experience in the coordination and implementation of public health programs and conducts formative research for qualitative data gathering. In 2013, she joined Toastmasters International, a communication and leadership organization to help overcome a stammer. In 2018, she became the unlikely winner of the Toastmasters International Speech Contest for West Africa. Let's give a round of applause for her. and was a speech contest semi-finalist in Chicago, Illinois. Let's give a round of applause as we welcome our next speaker, Ome Pogos.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank Juliana again for putting together this event. In the year 2004, I was approaching the end of my undergraduate journey. Now, weeks before it was time to defend my dissertation, I spent the whole time hunched in the library, trying to prepare the most elaborate dissertation that Windows 97 could prepare. And at last, the day came to defend my dissertation. I stood in a classroom full of expectant professors and curious classmates. And as I started my defense, only a few moments later, I choked. You see, my words had been suspended. They were like hanging in the air, almost like a guilty criminal. And for that reason, I could not complete my dissertation defense. And needless to say, I did not pass my dissertation. I got a C. And I did not go to medical school. Now, before I continue, I would like to ask, how many of us here stammer? How many people here are stammerers? Good, so quite a good number of us. Now, how many of us find that when we are nervous, we stammer more than usual? How many of us? Right, exactly. So why does this happen? Why do we think that this happens? What makes us feel so nervous? So like a good Nigerian, I will try to answer my question with more questions. Do we think that we stammer more when we focus on ourselves or when we focus on what other people think of us? Now, if you think the answer is both, then you are correct. You see, because when we stammer, we are afraid that we will look foolish. We wonder what other people are thinking about us. And this fear of looking foolish, at least for me, that's what aggravates the stammer and makes it worse. But then I started wondering, is this true only for stammering alone? Can this notion of confusion and panic be transferred to other things? So to answer this question, I'll give you another illustration from my life in university. So when I was in university, I liked to play basketball. But when I was first learning to play basketball, I would go to the basketball court and just practice free throws, jump shots, all the things that come with basketball. And one day I learned to shoot 10 free throws in a row. I was so excited, I called my roommate. I ran all the way to my dorm. I said, Susan, come, you have to see my free throw game. And my roommate was so patient, long-suffering. She followed me all the way to the basketball court. But when we got to the basketball court, there was something different about it. See, when I was practicing by myself, I was alone. There was nobody in the court. But when I came back with Susan, the court was buzzing with activity. There were people all around practicing, shooting the ball and dribbling all over the court. As I approached the free throw line, I felt exposed like a yellow flower in a bouquet of red roses. I did not know how I'd got there. So as I attempted my first free throw shot, I felt like everyone was watching me. So my hands had been steady previously, but now they were starting to shake. And so I took the first shot. I missed. I took the second shot. I missed again. In fact, I missed all 7 attempts at the free throw line. I was so embarrassed, I could not look at my roommate, Susan. But then I heard her say, Ome, stop minding all the people. Stop minding all the people. But that was very easy for her to say. She was not the one standing at the free throw line. But you know, she had hit on something important. So when I was minding all the people, anxiety took root in my mind. And that anxiety distorted my thoughts. It distorted my thoughts and made me think that I could not do something that I could, in fact, do. Now, many years ago, the writer Mark Twain said, getting old, he was talking to old people, He said, getting old is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Now this morning, I would like to adopt Mark Twain's words and say that stammering is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Now I know you might be wondering, especially if you stammer, how can you be a stammerer and not mind it? The agonizing search for words. I always think that people who stammer have very wide vocabularies because we always have to find an extra word to replace the one that we cannot pronounce. So the average stammerer has a wider vocabulary than regular human beings. The distress and frustration of getting stuck in the middle of a sentence. All those frustrations that come with being a stammerer. But I maintain, yes, that stammering is a matter of the mind. If you don't mind, like our friend, Mr. Olotu, our MC, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And it's even worse today for stammerers because we are expected to be entertaining, knowledgeable, and witty all the time. We live in a world that expects us to excel at small talk, to market our personal brands and brandish our elevator pitch at every opportune moment. Times have never been more difficult for people who stammer, I think. Yet I maintain that if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. You see, because people who stammer, we are mind readers. We like to negatively assume that people are making judgments of us, are making negative judgments of how we sound, and we think, okay, I look like I don't know what I'm talking about because I cannot pronounce my words. See, but something starts to happen when we take the focus off of ourselves. When we stop worrying about how we sound, what other people think, and what we look like. And instead, we start wondering about how our words can add value. We start thinking about how we can have the tongue of the learned, that we might know how to speak a word in season to the one who is weary. So we stop focusing on ourselves. This is what we do, but how do we do it? How do we stop focusing on ourselves? Now, one way is to stop listening to ourselves. I know it doesn't sound probable. See, because most human beings are born with a natural rhythm, a rhythm that helps our speech to flow, that natural rhythm. But the thing is that when you're a stammerer, the stammer, it breaks that natural rhythm. And when that rhythm is broken, your mind is filled with confusion and panic and even more fear that you will stammer, and it's just a vicious cycle. But what happens when we focus on the external rhythm of a metronome? We'll demonstrate. The beat of the metronome provides a rhythm for us to focus on. So we focus on this rhythm instead of the sound of our voices. So find your rhythm. Find your rhythm. Even if you have to walk around with a metronome, it doesn't matter if people think that you are weird. Remember, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Now, I would like to end by telling us a story of a woman, a musician named Zoe Keating. Now, Zoe is a brilliant cello player. She was so brilliant that she got invited to play in big opera houses and theater stages. But whenever she played on those big stages, she felt so nervous that she took her cello and started playing exclusively in bus stations. Now, she noticed that the people at the bus stations, they did not really care about her playing. They didn't care if she sounded perfect or imperfect. They would simply give her a few dollars and move on. So very soon, she forgot to feel afraid. She forgot to feel nervous. She simply played like she was practicing her cello in her bedroom. With time, her fears vanished. Her fears went away, and she started playing again on the big stages of the world. See, but it was playing at the bus stations that helped Zoe forget about her fears and focus on creating beauty. I belong to an organization called Toastmasters, as the MC mentioned. Toastmasters is my bus station. It's a place where, for the last 7 years, I've been able to speak and to practice speaking in public without the fear of being scrutinized. I have often stumbled. I have sometimes succeeded. but I've always persisted. And last year I won a speech contest, like a real, not with a speech contest among stammerers, but a speech contest among fluent people. You know, and it was the most, probably the most unlikely event of my life. So this morning, I would just like to encourage us to find your bus station. Find a place where you can be comfortable with the discomfort of stammering. Find a place that helps you to tell your story, because you have a story. And even if your voice is shaking and your hands are quivering as you tell your story, tell it. Because if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Thank you so much.
You know, it's not easy. I think Toastmaster is a platform for us to actually drive away that fear. Because one thing about us is that we are afraid to speak. Sometimes when we need, the time we need to speak, we don't want to speak. Why? Because of the fear of what we may say. But I know definitely with time we can overcome that. We are going to call on the representative of the Minister for State FCT, Dr. Aliyu, is represented by Mrs. Josephine Adigwe. Please don't mind, please, you know, sometimes because we stammer, we pronounce some names somehow, but please just forgive us. Today is our day. So let's welcome Mrs. Josephine Adigwe.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I'm a bit late because of some unforeseen circumstances. My minister would have been here in person, but because of other official engagement, she's not here. And I'm here to represent her. That is the Minister of State, FCT, Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliyu. She had asked me to read her goodwill message. So I wish to stand on the existing protocol and I read her goodwill message. I crave your indulgence to permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Today marks the day which the entire world has set aside to acknowledge the celebration of stammerers, and I am very delighted to be here to join the movement for the celebration of stammerers across the length and breadth of Nigeria. It gladdens my heart to note that the Stammer Foundation has taken the great initiative to start the awareness on the right of stammerers, their challenges, and the opportunities that exist to see that so much good can be achieved from great minds coming together to deliberate on the innovative things that can be done to support stammerers, including all speech-impaired individuals. It is worthy of note that the National Human Rights Commission, the Nigerian Bar Association, Abuja branch, as well as the National Orientation Agency, have rallied support for this event, which is evident that relevant government agencies as well as other non-governmental organizations are already raising the awareness levels for the stammer community. It is true that for every challenge, opportunities always present themselves. If only we patiently take an optimistic as well as targeted action, which this event already signifies. To state candidly, stammering often includes repetitions of words or parts of words, as well as prolongations of speech sounds. These occur more often in persons who stammer than they do in the general population. Some people who stammer may appear very tense or obviously out of breath when talking, and speech may become completely stopped or blocked. When this blockage occurs, the mouth is positioned to say a word, sometimes for several seconds, with little or no sound coming. After some frantic effort, the person may complete the word with minimal or extreme difficulties. Having looked at the above examples of stammer situations, we can easily see that chronic stammerers may have difficulties with oral presentations during examinations, during delivery of speech, may be discriminated at the workplace or where stammerers may find themselves. Our laws are very clear on non-discrimination, and these laws work in the interest of stammerers as well as all Nigerians. And beyond the existence of available laws, which infers protection for stammerers, there is access to stammering or speech therapy, which can help mitigate or aid the continued reduction of the impact of stammering on the life of all who stammer. I wish to use this medium to call on all specialized hospitals across Nigeria, well-meaning Nigerians, bilateral and multinational organizations, as well as governments at all levels, to rise to the occasion to support Stammer Foundation on its journey to ensure that stammerers have all that is required for them to live fulfilled lives. Across access affordable therapy, maintain self-confidence, receive support from colleagues, and eventually exit stammering in due time. Finally, I wish you all fruitful deliberations and hope that we take the message out there as we further exercise restraint and advocate support for all who stammer across our beloved country. Thank you all, and thank you very much.
It's not easy. You know, whenever you hear all protocol duly observed, know that the government is around. So we need, our next person we are calling is the representative of the Executive Secretary of NUC, Nigerian University Commission. Though they were saying if I can pronounce the name, I want to challenge myself to pronounce his name very well. Let's welcome Mr. Osainde Osamudiame. Please, a round of applause, please.
Excellent. I will call you a stammerer with this pronunciation. Good morning, everyone. Please, for want of time, I want to crave your indulgence to stand on the existing protocol. I work in a place where I meet professors almost at all times. I am not one yet, maybe by association, because I associate with them. They will always ask us, are you standing on existing protocol or you are standing by it? So whichever one, so all protocol duly observed. Good message from Professor Adamu Abubakar Rashid, MNI, MFRO, Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission. At the International Stammer Awareness Day event held at the National Human Rights Commission, Abuja, on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2019. I'm delighted to be invited at this important event commemoration of the International Stammering Awareness Day, may I, on behalf of the board, management, staff of the National Universities Commission, congratulate and express deep gratitude to Stammer Foundations and all stakeholders involved in this worthy initiative of providing much needed support to children and teenagers who stammer by means of speech therapy. As a major stakeholder in the provision of quality university education to students, the Commission is indeed highly proud to associate with Stammer Foundation in this noble gesture. The National Universities Commission has always clamored for more support from corporate bodies to indigent and brilliant students. It is gratifying, therefore, to see the Stammer Foundation in changing the world for people who stammer. And we can only do this by collectivity. It is clear that stammering can have a significant and long-term impact on people that we are all, living witnesses to. But what you are doing today has an important role to play in reducing the stigma, increasing awareness to create a better world for people who stammer. But if I may digress, yours sincerely, stammering has nothing to do with your intellect. You are still the same person like that one that doesn't stammer. But wherever you find yourself, your brain speaks for you. It is when you are communicating, there are little, hiccups. But however, you are not deficient. Once again, I thank you for your laudable activities, initiative, and the awareness that we will all be one in communication. Thanks for hearing.
Please, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Osainde Osamudiame. It's not easy to be a stammerer. And like 4 or 5 years ago, I married my wife, and when some of my friends saw my wife on Facebook and said, how do you speak to her? That we know you very well, you don't speak, you hardly talk. I say it is by the grace of God. So I need to recognize some important people here because they are the FROS people, so that we don't know if they will give us free tax for us. I want to honor Yazi Abumalaki. Please forgive me. Today is our day, please. Please just signify by raising your... Okay, please, a round of applause for him, please. Also, Benga Adeboye, Rukaya Ismailea. Please forgive me. Then Samira Tari. Okay. So in order to take us further, we are going to call on the founder of this foundation. She is a pioneer of why we are all here. And it is not easy to come out with an idea. There are so many people, they have ideas, but they cannot implement them. So many, they have ideas, but in the process of implementation, they have issues, and they never see the light of the day. But today, we are seeing the light of the day of Stammer Foundation, and by God's grace, we are going higher. There are so many, we have a lot of aims and objectives. Our goal, our desire is that we're able to accomplish them throughout this year as the year comes by. So I want us to give a rounding applause as I call on Barrister Juniala Iman.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, wow. Thank you very much for coming again. I am very happy that this day is finally here. Okay, Stammer Foundation. I think I'll just start from the beginning. So my father and my mother both stammer. And growing up, I used to see both of them stammering. When my mother wants to pick up the phone, she'll be like, before she says hello. And then my dad, when he's preaching, he would also stammer. And so I was like, when both of you know that you stammer, why did you people get married to each other? And they used to be like that when they first got married, that both of them would get to the bus stop and probably they are going to Wuse. So the bus will come. He'll be trying to say, she'll be trying to say, and the bus will leave. And I grew up seeing both of them stammer. And of course, we all had to follow in what we saw. So some of my sisters stammer, and I also stammer. I remember my first experience stammering. I was in church. I think I was about 5 or 6 years. And it was Children's Day, I think. So they brought all the children out to give memory verse. And we had already practiced it and rehearsed it before time. So definitely, you know how children come. You're welcome this, you're welcome that. My memory verse is this. And the first child, the second child, the third child, like that, until it got to my turn. Oh. It got to my turn and I couldn't talk. I remember it now when I almost cried, because that day, I remember, I went to the back of the church and I cried. It was so sad. And I know that a lot of people go through this, especially children and people growing up. So, when it got to my turn, I could not say my memory verse. My teacher came and she was whispering in my ear, John 3:16, John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Say it. John 3:16, for God so loved the world. And I was like, I didn't come out. I went to the back of that place that day. I lay down. I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And from that moment, it was a bit hard for me because in the primary school, I was always the quiet one. In the university, I was always the quiet one. I studied law, actually. I'm a lawyer. Okay, I'll get to that. So, in the primary school, I was very quiet. In the secondary school, too, I was very quiet. And so I took to maths. And then I'll always sit in front. I'll just study maths. And somehow, I was actually doing well. And my teacher then would tell me that, why don't I just go to science? But, well, I didn't really pass all those science classes. So let me not do like, maybe I was very good in science, that's why I know. But I was good at maths, but I was not good at the rest. So I was in arts class. And staying in arts class, then I would just be in front, and I was always very quiet. I remember I was a day student then. Because of how good I was in maths, probably I would pass maths, and people around me would fail. By the time I come the next day to school, they would have carried my chair outside. So when I come, my own space will be empty, and it will be because I'm not really relating with the rest people. And sincerely, I'm a friendly person in my spirit. But I don't know how to communicate so well with people, because then, even if you ask me for my name, before I would say my name is an issue, before I would now say the rest things. So it was difficult for me. So I was like a lonely child. I remember then they'll be singing, there was a particular poem then, lonely soul, something like that, and they'll be singing it. And then I got to the university. Some of my classmates are here. They can testify. I was very quiet as a law student. I remember then, you know how law students are, they come out, they talk, and they are very charged up. And I don't think I ever spoke in class. I don't think I ever spoke from my 100 level to my 500 level. What I was most determined to do was to pass, and so I read to pass, and then I wrote and all that, but I never came out to really talk in class. And when I got to law school, the same thing. They would pass the mic around and would have to speak in class, and I spoke, I think, once or twice, but that was all. But when I got married, I was forced, because at the point of getting married, I had to choose either I wanted to practice law, litigation and all that, and I didn't know if I could stand in front of a judge, and so I had to find something else that I could do that was going to help. And so for a full year, because I gave birth to my first child after I got married, like a year after, I used that year to study and do everything that I had to study, studying in intellectual property and entertainment law. And I was studying in that area because I knew that at least I had a safe place where I could start, I could grow, and I didn't have to go to a law firm where after a week or 2 weeks, they would give me a file and tell me to go to court, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. Sincerely as I stand before you, as a lawyer that has been called to the Nigerian bar, I have not stood before a judge. And that's because I'm just wondering, how is it going to be? Will I do my Lord? Or I don't know. I have not stood in front of a judge, and so I've been doing corporate practice ever since. And if I have to go to court, I outsource it. And so in 2018, last year, May, I decided to start Stammer Foundation. It looked very crazy because a lot of people were like, why would you use Stammer Foundation? Why not broaden it? Why not do for speech and everybody combined? Probably, who knows, maybe in the future. But I knew that there are people like me that would need some form of encouragement to actually come out. And so I decided to start with Stammer Foundation. And so far, we have been able to get over 100 people who are members of our Stammer community from different places. And what we do is that we encourage people to be their best self, to know what they're supposed to do, and to create the best value. Because I tell people, I say, whether you stammer or you don't stammer, what the employers are looking for is value. And if you can give value, nobody will care whether you stammer or not. In the year 2019, a secondary school child sent me a message, and he said that he wanted to study law, and right now he's in SS2, but he's not going to study law anymore. That when he finishes SS3, he will not further his education, and that sometimes he even thinks of committing suicide. And I was like, why? He said, people look down on him. People abuse him. People mimic him and all that. And I know that it's not just him. There are a lot of people who don't have an avenue to see other people that are like them, to know that if someone like me can get to the height of their career, then I can also get to the height of my career. And so I created this platform for them. And so far, we have been doing well, and this event is the first event that we're having, International Stammering Awareness Day. Although we do meet quarterly for hangouts where we share stories with each other, but this is like our first official meeting, and I want to thank everyone for coming. Now, looking forward, we hope that we'll be able to advocate for people. We hope that we'll be able to raise awareness to the rights, the needs, and the welfare of people who stammer. We hope that we'll be able to help people who stammer with their employability issues, how to go for interviews, how to communicate with people. Someone here, not just, there are people here who stammer, who work in different places, and we'll be sharing stories on how they went for their interviews and how they were able to communicate with their employers. For example, me, before I started working for myself, I went for some interviews, and I have a particular technique that I use for my interviews that helped me not to stammer as much as I would and to help me to be more confident. So this foundation will help with the needs, the rights, and the welfare of people who stammer. It would also help with changing the prevalent mindset that people have about people who stammer, saying they're angry people or they're not easy to relate with. We are easy to relate with. We are very loving people. If I tell you the kind of love I shower on my husband, you will not believe, because I like affection, and it does not matter whether I stammer or not. I want to be loved, and I want someone to love me too. And I think that's what everybody wants, both adults and children. And so I want to thank everyone for coming, and I would like you to be open-minded towards us. Don't be afraid to employ us. Don't be afraid to get married to us. Feel free to walk up to us and be patient with us when we stammer in front of you. And also, when you call a stammerer on the phone, when you call someone who stammers on the phone and the person is trying to get out the first hello, don't think it's a prank. The person is trying to get out the hello. And so I also have a speech here, but I'm not reading the speech I have because people who stammer also find it hard to read directly. And so these are just some things that I would like people to know about us. Thank you very much for coming.
Please, one more time, a round of applause for her. You know, she said something. She said her mother and her father was a stammerer. But me, I don't know what happened to me. My mother and my father, they are not stammerers. But though my uncle is a stammerer. So I asked my mom whether when she was pregnant with me, if she stood around my uncle so long. Well, anyway, like I said earlier, I'm proud to be a stammerer. Then one other thing again about us is that, you know, we talk slowly so that we can get to our destination. Because most times I keep asking, how can I overcome this? I say, don't rush. And when you're telling us don't rush, that is when we want to rush. Because of that anxiety. So to take us further, though you can observe that we are using style to wait for one of our facilitator, but we jumped the program to call on the Assistant Director, Special Duties, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Shinwe Ekaro.
Good morning, all. Well, as they say in Nigeria, all protocols duly observed. Before I read the short goodwill message from my director, I want to tell a personal story. My father was a stammerer, and their own stammering is this one that would draw before he speaks. So when I was a child, all of us, you know, we were stammering. How I overcame it or how I escaped it, I don't know. But I know that my brother stammer. You know, those stammerers, they will stammer, and before they want to get it, they are hitting their head, they are fishing all the things to bring out the words. Two of my brothers still stammer like that. One is trying to control it. One has not been able to overcome this thing. I remember my father would say, take breath. When you get hooked, he would say, stop. Take a deep breath, then continue. So I have a personal experience of those who stammer. And then my father couldn't overcome all of his own before he died. And before he died, he couldn't speak again. He would draw that what we do, we say, Papa, write it. We say, just write what you want to say. So when they came up with Stammer's Foundation, I said, wow, is there anything like that? Because, you know, I never actually knew there was something like that. And so I must congratulate the organizers of this program. Please, a round of applause for them. After today, I can call my brothers, they are in US, and say, I didn't know you people have a foundation. And then there's a way to overcome it. And so I will connect them to you. already said protocol. So greetings from the Director, National Orientation Agency, FCT Directorate. So we are all aware that today, October 22nd, was designated International Stuttering or Stammerers Awareness Day, I said, which started in 1998, 21 years ago. This day is intended to raise public awareness of stuttering or stammering, which affects about 1% of the world's population. The National Orientation Agency is strategically positioned to mobilize positive participation and support of the people on this awareness and to stop stigmatization of people that are affected with the speech challenge of stammering. The National Orientation Agency, I hope you're hearing me. I'm speaking in loud, okay. The National Orientation Agency is pleased to be invited to this all-important program. And people may say, is it everything that National Orientation Agency is involved with? Yes, because anything that creates awareness, anything that creates peace, anything that makes people to have a better understanding of one another and create peace within our community. Because stammering or stuttering sometimes creates conflict, isn't it? Because if you are a child and you find out that people are mocking you because you're stammering, the next thing is that you give them a dirty slap. I have a colleague here, she's hiding her face, who said she had to give somebody a dirty slap because she was just trying to bring out words and the person was talking so fast. Pam, 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 pam. Now when I overcame stammering, I started talking too fast and they would say, you're too fast, you're too fast. Thank God I'm talking more fast than the stammering. So we are glad to partner with this organization to create more awareness. And we hope, I've already told her, I said, we hope to create more awareness by having some small events in the schools where we can let people know that just like other people have the small challenges, that stammerers have challenges. We invited students, but you know, most of them were on midterm break, just resuming yesterday. That's why they couldn't come. But I promise that we will have an event in at least 3 or 4 schools within the FCT to create this awareness. Thank you. So Nigeria at this moment needs programs like this to discuss and to educate people about this complex disorder and to work towards how to overcome it, how to help children overcome it. Simple technique of telling them when you are hooked, stop, taking breaths. Because at that time they want to draw the word and bring it out, and it keeps like drawing. So this program will help in creating awareness of the challenges faced by stuttering or stammering children and adults who will find it difficult to express themselves within set time. You know, most of them cannot engage in the debating societies that, you know, children like to involve with, and we and then they stand, like she said, you want to recite your own verse and you get hooked and they will all go to the back. You are not the only one. Some of us did that one too. And to enlighten people too of the challenges that, you know, people have in explaining themselves, especially when people know that you're a stammerer, they will look for you trouble. So that when you stand before the teacher to explain yourself, before you say lie. Okay, that is why you cannot talk. Okay, talk now. You understand? I hope you can understand me. So I will encourage all participants not to see this as an exercise in futility, but to see themselves as vessels in orientating the people on this sensitive issue. We wish there should be more of it, and National Orientation Agency is already promising that we will help in organizing more smaller events within our schools and within our communities to create more awareness, because this awareness will create peace within families, peace within individuals, and peace within the community and the nation as a whole, at large. Thank you very much. I almost stammered now, and God bless you.
Do you know, even in the entertainment industry, they use us to make a lot of money too. And I find that most of the comedians, I've not seen a stammerer who is a comedian, and I believe if we have one, he or she should be able to make something good out of it. I don't know if you remember that popular joke that a teacher who is a stammerer went to a class and it said that let them pronounce hippopotamus. And while he was trying to pronounce it, the students said hip, 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 hooray, and they left the class. So I believe we should strive to see how we can take advantage of the entertainment industry. So the next program is, I believe, we can do that, the voice pop.
When we say stammerer, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind, sir?
Stammerer, those who don't know the talk, or because we have any different type of stammerers.
Yes. What comes to your mind when you hear the word stammerer?
Stammerer. I understand stammerer. That now those who know Sabi talk well. Oh.
Okay, sir. Sir, can you employ someone that stammer to work under you?
Yes, I can employ them.
If you see a lady that stammer, can you marry the lady?
I can marry.
Is it hard for you to relate to them?
It's not hard for me.
So if you see someone that stammer now, you can easily talk to them and understand.
I can talk to them and I understand them.
I was equally a stammerer and I have a lot of them as friends even now. Okay. So we relate, we do a lot of things in common, and I'm fine with them.
When you say stammerer, what comes to your mind immediately?
Yeah, what comes to my mind immediately is that we that are normally stammerer is that we just have to cool down. Okay. Because one, they are human beings like us, but they are not thinking the way we are thinking sometimes. Because when you talk something that is not, there is no thing that maybe will come out of you, then they will pick first. Because the stammer is just like, it's natural as something that God gives to them. The way God gives to us as we hear that as we are speaking normal. And then that we are just speaking like how this thing. Because then too, sometimes they are here. It looks so deaf, all this thing. So before sometimes before can speak normal, you have to hear them to hear what they are saying. Sometimes, except you go closer to them and hear what they are saying. Sometimes, because if you don't go closer to them, hear what they are saying. Sometimes you can't listen to them. Then if they not speak to you, you'll be like maybe what they are speaking, you don't hear them. Look at what I'm saying. Look at what I'm saying. All this kind of thing that quickly pick anger. It's natural. You also say if you want to listen to the stammer people, you by yourself have to calm down. They hear from them before not say word out of your mouth.
Can you employ someone who is a stammerer to work under you?
Yes, I can employ him. Because someone like me, someone that they have a patient. If you have patience, you can employ them. But because you have to know yourself. We as a woman being here, we know ourselves. I know the kind of behavior I can behave now. I know the kind of react I can react now that will make you feel angry. Maybe there will be reason that the way I'm serving this man, the way I know the voice I'm stammered, I don't know how to talk. All this thing, this one don't follow me, don't respect me. They then pick anger to control somebody like that. It's very hard. The reason why I say so that I've already read them. I read the way they behave. Then the way I am, I'm someone that at least sometimes I don't always speak first because I know I read people mind under in a day. If I can be with you in a day, stay from morning to night, I don't read you finish. I'm someone like that. So I know what can be able to do under 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 second. Except maybe you can be able to maybe you wanted to add another thing that I will push one word to you. Now from there you now speak out of your mind to me. Then from there I go pick for this, what this man can do.
Can you marry someone that stammers?
Yes, I can marry them.
Why? And you say they get angry easily.
Wait. The reason why I say yes, I can marry them that they get angry that if you want to speak with Stammerer, you by yourself, you have to cool down. You have to have a patient a lot. If you don't have a patient a lot, you don't have a patient, you can't marry them. Just like person that is deaf and dumb. No, deaf and dumb, they don't hear you. They normally describe with hand. Then if they describe with hand, it doesn't hear quickly on pick anger. That's exactly what they call it, the Stammerer. Just the same behavior. So you by yourself, if you want to put yourself into that situation, you have to calm down. If it's somebody that maybe not know how to pick anger, you have to calm down. Because if you know if you calm down, if you know have mind to calm down, don't go there the area. Because one day the way you rush to inside, that's where you go rush come outside.
What was your name, please?
My name is Ibale Chijoke. Anybody that is a stammerer is not the person's unique. It's how God created the person.
When you hear the word stammerer, what comes to your mind immediately?
The word, if I hear anything stammerer, it means that the person, anybody that is a stammerer, then the person is a stammerer. The person cannot talk well. That means mostly it's people that normally frustrated or normally very quick. Before they talk, they will withdraw their talk. That they will be stammerer.
If a stammerer gets angry easily, can you marry a stammerer?
Yes.
You can marry a stammerer. Yes. Why?
If I marry a stammerer, I will be controlling. I will not make her to be quick, to be annoyed. Because the time they be annoyed, that time they cannot control themselves. They want to talk, but they cannot talk. That means they will be frustrated. But if you can control the person, maybe before the person verse or gets annoyed, it can not be easy for the person.
Can you employ a stammerer to work under you? Since you say a stammerer is someone that gets annoyed, can you employ him to work under you? Because if he's working under you, you may get him annoyed, and then he may now jump on you and start shouting at you. So can you employ a stammerer to work under you?
If the stammerer can perform well, can do more than the person that is not stammerer, I can employ him.
Without thinking, what if he gets angry easily and jump on you? Without thinking any of that, you can still employ him.
Before then, I will give him or her rule or control. I will give him order or what to do or what not to do. So that if the person default, neglected that is stammerer or not, I can sack him at any time. I will make her or she to understand that.
I breathe to live, to love, to hold, to touch your soul and shine my light. The inner longings of my being shall be made manifest in God. All I need is time and courage to bring these things to be. Body, 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 body. I see a day when we love our neighbors as our.
Dr. Sola Ifrin, I don't know if he's around. Oh, she's. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. Please a round of applause for her. She's a sorry. Okay. A psychiatrist and a certified addiction professional. Is a senior lecturer in psychiatry at the College of Health Science, University of Abuja, and honorary chief consultant psychiatrist at the National Hospital Abuja, where she has worked since 2005. Prior to that, she was a lecturer in psychiatry and physiology at the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, and consultant at the University College Hospital Ibadan. She is a life fellow West African College of Physicians in the Faculty of History, She has served as United Nations Nigeria National Stress Counselor. She's a publisher. She's a published researcher in stigma, substance abuse, and self-management, among others. Please, a round of applause for her as she stepped out, please. Please, a round of applause for her. It's not easy. Please, I want to encourage everyone, because this is one of the major part of the program that we need to listen, and we also answer some questions too. So the last but not in the least is Mrs. Adebukola Aye Labola. Please, have mercy on me today. She was born in Ibadan, Oyo State. Buki, as she's fondly called. She finished from Payero University, Kano, where she obtained a bachelor's degree in business administration in 2000, and proceeded to the University of Plymouth in the United Kingdom, where she obtained a master's degree in oil and gas management with distinction in 2012. Please, a round of applause, please. To further her passion of seeing people mentally and emotionally well, she is the founder and CEO of Liz Richmond Global Limited, a mind health firm based in the city of Abuja. A foray into mind health was born out of a strong drive to help the weak and vulnerable in a sustainable way that will impact generations. This has motivated her to get qualified and be certified as a therapist, neutralistic practitioner, and timeline therapist. Please, let's give a round of applause for her as she stepped out. Please keep clapping until she sit down, please. You are welcome. So, now the floor is now open as we start on a panel discussion on the anatomy of stammer. Okay. Sorry, the anchor of this program are Nafiza and Ima. Please, are they here? Please, there. Sorry, I hope I pronounced your name well. Okay, please, a round of applause for them as they come up, please.
Good morning, all. My name is Emmanuel Oji. I'm a legal practitioner based here in Abuja, and with me to moderate this session is Okay, so you're all welcome. Please jam your hands together for yourself. You're wonderful people. Before I start, I would want to say that this stammering thing really vary. So sometimes you may hear some of us frantically trying to control it all through. So much so that you begin to wonder if we truly stammer. But without much ado, I'm going to hand over the mic to Nafisa so that she can put some questions to our panelists. Thank you so much.
So, my first question, it's for Dr. Shola. And I was wondering, what is it like, what was it like for you getting a job with your stammer?
Thank you very much. And let me disclose, I'm not a stammerer. So I don't know how that question came about, but I can. So don't let me imagine. I think it's better we get practical experience and conversation here.
Okay. Isn't there any stammerer on the panel? So my second patient is for Mr. Baba Jide, the speech therapist. I was wondering if there was a link between trauma and stammering.
Okay. To answer that question, I will say yes, there is a link because sometimes trauma could trigger anxiety, and whenever you are anxious, definitely it will affect your speech. So in a way, if you have trauma, it will affect you whenever you are anxious. And when you're about to speak, like I remember the first speaker, okay, I don't know if she's the first speaker, but the speaker, when I came in, she was talking about how anxiety affected her in communication and even in taking basketball shoots at school. So some of these things can affect us psychologically.
Thank you. I would just like to chip in and say that indeed research evidence has shown that trauma can lead to stammering. There have been studies that show that children who were traumatized in childhood, who may not even have been aware of it, like, trauma they weren't aware of, like being separated from their place of natural birth or very severe accidents and so on. It has been studied that yes, indeed, they are more likely to stammer than those who never had any difficulty, such trauma. So yes, it's documented that trauma can precipitate stammering in later life.
Okay, my question will be for you, Ma. Okay, growing up from childhood, I realized that I realized the whole stammering thing from a very early age. In fact, then when I speak, I have to beat my laps, trying to get out these words, and it was really tough for me. But somehow, some way, I managed to master my stammering, and by God's grace today, I feel I really stammer, except when I'm put on undue pressure and the likes. So now my question is that if we say yes, that stammering can have a significant impact on a person's mental and emotional well-being and even self-worth, how can these issues be tackled from that early stage of child development? Thank you.
Thanks for that question. I will say that if you're talking about tackling stammering from childhood, a lot has to do with the people around us, the knowledge that they have about stammering, and the fact that they need to understand that stammering is not a disease. Stammering is just, it happens, and it has something to do with the connectivity in the brain, and that is why some people stammer or stutter. And confidence building, I think, is one thing that can actually help people from a young age to overcome, the fear and the fact that they feel that they will be bullied or be looked down on. When the people, especially the parents, can actually, build the confidence of the child, encourage the child, and have a little bit of patience with the child, I think it goes a long way, because when somebody who stammers or who slutters is speaking to you, if you don't take over the conversation, you give them the time to actually finish what they're trying to say, and in the course of conversing with them, you converse with a smile, and you kind of encourage them to say, yeah, go on, you can do it, talk to me, I can hear you, it's fine. I think with that, over time, it builds the confidence of the person, and they don't feel like, am I being looked at funny, or am I doing something wrong? So it's just has to do with helping the child build confidence, and ensuring that you speak to the child at a young age, encourage them that it's fine. It's not a disease, it's not something unusual. After all, everybody has one thing or the other that is bothering them. So, I think that way you can actually help a child from a young age that has got this stammering issue.
All right, thank you. So I don't want to...
Yeah, I would just want to chip into that. Childhood intervention is very key if you can tackle it early enough. And basically, it works more on when a child's self-esteem is worked on. Like the child's self-esteem is not affected. You can see the child doing very well. It is the consciousness of that effect that can make a child actually be laid back or start having issues with, performance and relating with people. But if the self-esteem is developed, the child is not worried about his or herself, and you make them to be aware of their condition, and they accept it, because acceptance is very key. Some people still fight with the fact that maybe they're stammerers or not. But if they accept the situation, and then they can start working on therapies and some strategies on how to manage it, then you will see that they can quickly develop and get out of it. Some outgrow it, and some manage it over time. It's not a disease like she said. It's not an ailment. You can use medication for it. You can only manage it. So it's a long-time effect that you have to manage for a while.
All right, thank you. Let me take it up from what you said, how to manage your stammer, strategies, in trying to manage it. Now, apart from the already established strategies that you can use to master it, do you know of any other that may not be so common, that, strategies that we can use to manage? Like someone told me many years back that, if you sing, that can help you to, reduce your stammer. And trust me, from age 12, I joined the choir till now, I still sing with the Catholic choir. So I really don't know if truly that has helped me to, manage my stutter.
Yes, when you are not thinking about the next word to say, you say it directly. It is when you begin to think about, how am I going to pronounce this next word? How am I going to, won't I stutter if I say it? Then you begin to delay, then anxiety begins to set in. And then sometimes you may even shut down, like Juliana was saying. And then you don't know how to, to pick up from there. But if you are conscious of if you're not too conscious of the effect of stuttering, but you're conscious of how you're going to say what you're saying, you might not really have that difficulty communicating. So some of the things that I tell people to do is to think about what you say before you say it. Don't just process it in your mind, think about it, and then the next thing is the breath taking. You take a breath. Some of my colleagues will say, don't say more than 7 words without taking a breath. So you must learn to take a breath in between your sentences. So you don't just keep talking and then you mumble up your word. Then move your mouth. Don't get stuck with the way, the flexibility of your mouth, the flexibility of how you coordinate your oral motor muscles really matters a lot. You need to move your mouth while you communicate as well. So it also matters. Then use enough voice. Use enough voice, and lastly, talk slowly. Don't rush into your conversations.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know whether someone wants to...
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what he has said. I down some things. I will just read it out. If you first of all think of yourself as not a stammerer, but as somebody who is not a smooth talker, that's the first thing you need to say to yourself. I'm not a stammerer, but I'm just not smooth with words. So when you tell yourself that, you begin to work on your own mind by actually not stigmatizing yourself by yourself. So if you say to yourself, okay, I just don't talk smoothly, it doesn't mean I'm a stammerer. So that's one thing. Then you need to actually tell yourself that you can succeed in life. Every time you wake up, you look at yourself and say to yourself in the mirror, I'm going to succeed, regardless of what anybody thinks of me. You keep walking with that mentality and that line of thought. Then another thing you need to do is, you shouldn't panic about what others will think about you. So if you're not a smooth talker, like I say, you're probably just disfluent with speech. You're not a stammerer. So whatever anybody has to think about you, don't panic about it. Like I said here, I said, after all, everybody struggles with one thing. Theirs might not just be physical. So once you tell yourself that, you know what, I'm not going to panic about what anybody has to think about me. I'm just going to try my best and speak as best as I can. And whatever that person thinks about, I shouldn't be bothered about it. With time, what human beings do is that they just get used to you and they just live with it. Over time, they will accept you for you and live with it. So one thing you shouldn't do is panic about what you're going to say. Then I said to myself when I was coming in, I wrote something that I said, use your strength to protect you. Everybody has got one thing in them that distinguishes them from the other person. We are all strong as individual entities. Whatever your strength is what you should actually carry out there. That is what people should actually see you for. So if you're good with singing, always come up with that singing first. If you're good with dancing, always come up with that dancing first. If you're good with writing, come up with that. So when people identify you with your strength, they really won't look at that stammering part of you. So project yourself with your strength first. And I say that you do not limit your challenges. What you should do is challenge your limits. So tell yourself, look, you know what? This is part of me. This is my own physiology. This is how I am made. And everybody's just got to live with it.
Thank you very much, man. Okay.
I would like to still say something about management of stammering. But before I go on to that, we mentioned the word stigma. I don't know whether we're still going to talk a little about that, or I should just... The best way to overcome stigma is to make whatever people think they are stigmatizing appear normal. See, stigma really means, singling out, separating apart as different, and we cannot fight stigma, but we do need to make sure that we protect people from discrimination. Discrimination is criminal. Discrimination is something that can be contested. But stigma, let me explain. If, for example, I might decide that I don't want my child to marry a stammerer, that's stigmatization. And nobody can do a lot to me because I am so foolish to be that biased. But if I say somebody is very qualified to do something, and then I say, we can't just hire you in this organization because you stammer, then that's discrimination. But you see, the most important thing is that if people stammer, like she said, project your strengths. If it's only in the area of speech that a person might just have a bit of a challenge, but the person is excellent in every other way. You tell the person, write something, and the person gives you a wonderful written piece, You're not likely to want to let go of that kind of person. So it's very important that we emphasize that part of recognizing your strengths, because the more people who have project themselves strong and expert in so many others, the less people will tend to stigmatize the idea of stammering. Now, just to say that there is medication. Medication sometimes can help people who stammer, especially people who stammer severely. So, yes, sometimes we could give them medication if all else fails. So we should also have that at the back of our mind, because you see, this thing goes, there are people whose difficulties are mild and some whose are more intense. And some people may say, oh, it's okay for you to say you can breathe and go. I've been breathing all my life and I can't go on. So let's just make it aware that, yes, even medication, drugs are available to treat this.
Okay, talking about the stigma aspect, I think I was watching a report 2 nights ago, and then the documentary was talking about how the black mind was conditioned to see themselves to be a lower kid of the society. And this started when the white people, back in the slavery era, they cracked jokes using the slavery lifestyle of black people, modeling their weaknesses to themselves, and then the white people's mindset was conditioned to see the black man not to be too, cognitively strong, or not to be capable of doing things. Now, that's true comedy, and then that message was passed to the society, and the society see black men to be a lower functioning people. Now, bringing that to the Stammer situation, we also have comedians here who crack jokes with their status, and some of those jokes are not always in the positive aspect. Good for the aspect where we're talking about hippopotamus. That's even better. You'll see where they will ridicule the stammerer, and then the society as well begin to see them to be a problem and people that cannot function as well in the society. So some of these things are a way of conditioning the mind of the society, and then they begin to see stammerers as though they are not very important as well. And I will also want to say this. Thank God that an NUC official is here. Now, we can see the situation of Juliana. She's smart. She's very good with her studies. She's not having academic problem, but she's having problem exhibiting that smartness, which is a bridge that needs to be, covered. Now, my plea to NUC is this: in UK, when someone declares status to be having a learning situation, there are accommodative procedures that will be given to such person. For instance, somebody who has dyslexia, who has problem with reading, writing, and spelling, such person is considered when they are trying to write exams, they might be given extra time. When they are trying to submit assignments, they might be given extra week to submit their own assignments. Those are accommodative conditions for them. But here locally, people with learning situations go through difficulties, and it's not helping them cope with their learning. So for me, since you are here, sir, I think maybe you can take this up in NUC, that such should also be brought up in our educational system. Let there be accommodative procedure for these people so that they can show their full potentials in the society.
Thank you so much. In fact, you've, okay, sir, please, you can.
Thank you very much. I'd like to quickly respond to the last speaker. For the benefit of those just coming, Usayende Samidame is my name, Deputy Director, National Universities Commission. You may not be aware that there are provisions for such students. If you listen to my address, we did make mention of indigent and brilliant students. So they fall into these categories. So there is no how you have some, because this program falls under special education. So it's well taken care of. I think about 3 months ago, we went around the universities. We call it evaluation of students' facilities. And we were able to even interact. There are lecturers that are stammerers. We don't have them. We interacted with all of them. But very soon, there's going to be a policy on that issue. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. One last question. I really want to ask, is stammering really a disability? How should society treat stammering if we say it's really a disability? And is there really a need for some kind of laws or regulations that can, assist the cause of stammerers? I would leave it open for anybody that wants to take that.
I think that severe stammering can certainly qualify as a disability, because a disability is any condition that impairs full participation. If a person is not able to fully participate because of a condition that they are dealing with, then it can be considered a disability. Now, there is a big body of law, the Convention on the Rights of People with Disability, which was passed a few years ago in the United Nations. Nigeria is a signatory to it. Of course, I am not aware that we have domesticated it. But what that convention, and anybody that is interested, please Google up CRPD, or Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. It gives everybody that has whatever type of disability the right to full participation, the right to full determination of what they want to be. You cannot say to somebody, I can't admit you to study law because you stammer. You can't talk before a judge. Our convener here, we saw her speak beautifully. And as she was speaking, I was thinking, you could stand before a judge because she spoke to us throughout and she didn't stammer for once, So you should, if you don't want to stand before a judge, it should just be your choice. It should not be because somebody somewhere is making that decision for you or barring you from being able to do it. So we have to ensure that there's full inclusion for people who stammer. Whatever it is that we can do, whether it's by supporting them. And let me just, since this is the last question, I'll just seize this opportunity to say a few things. Please, when people stammer, don't try to finish their words up for them. The person is trying to say hippopotamus, and when he's saying hip, you say hippopotamus because you just want to go. No. Kindly please be patient and let the person get through the word. Don't encourage the person to finish the words. And then don't pay too much attention to the fact that a person is stumbling over their words, so long as they come to the end of it. Be patient when you're listening to somebody who is having a difficulty. Also, even if you talk to your family doctor and they take you to the psychiatrist, we can still link you up to the professionals that you need, the speech therapists, counselors, and so on. Because there is evidence that getting help early actually helps. So let's not say, well, I just have to live with it. If a person if a child especially, there's no reason why a child should grow up with stammering. Now, in this 21st century, we should get help, get therapy, so that with help, the child gets over it. So I think that those will be my closing remarks. And thank you so much. I want to seize this opportunity to thank the organizers of this forum. I was very interested in being here because I know and I see in my practice sometimes the difficulty that people go through. Sometimes it's not even necessarily the person who is stammering. Sometimes it's a relative. Somebody is going to admit, you're looking at the relative who is sitting there looking embarrassed just because a child is stammering or a spouse is stammering. So we need to do all we can to support this foundation, and personally I plan to do my best. Thank you.
Okay, let me quickly respond as well. My own take on that is that, yes, recently the Individual Disability Discrimination Act or something like that was just passed recently. But my problem with the act or the law is that there was no definition that contained who is a disabled person. We don't have that definition. And if something is not defined, then who are the beneficiaries of such act? We need to start from there. Let us define it. The Individuals with Disability Education Act, amended 2004, that of the USA, it was clearly defined, clearly stated. There are 13 categories of people with disability that falls under that law. So that law knows who is catering for. But here in Nigeria, we pray that our legislature will help us to pass laws that are easy for us to, that accommodate us easily. Let me put it that way. Because if the laws are there, but they are not implementable, then it's of no use, really. So let us make our law very flexible and easy for people to interpret, and let it cover the right people who needs it.
All right, thank you so much. So now the all for, okay, one more word, right?
What I would just say is, I feel that there is a need to create awareness on stammering. And I think individually we can do it, and our individual efforts will become a collective effort. When you make people around you know that stammering is not a disease, and there is no point stigmatizing whoever stammers. A stammerer is a human being like everybody else. And because, like I say, I don't call them stammerers, I just call them people who are not smooth with words. And we all can't be the same. Human beings are different, and everybody is actually unique in their own right. So I will say the need to create awareness and the need to embrace people that stammers in our organization as friends, as colleagues, is extremely important. And when you give to them the love, care, attention, the sense of belonging, it actually goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, if you think the panelists have done justice to this topic, jam your hands together for them. For want of time, we'll just quickly take one or maybe two questions, if you permit, quickly. Sir, you had... Okay, so please, MC, can you assist?
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate the founder of this Stammer Foundation, because my name is Ode Boniface. I'm a staff of NUC. I come in the company of the representative of our executive secretary. I want to appreciate the information I got that stammerers have a help medically, that there is drug or medical help for those who stammer. And if this is the case, it's like the sensitization is very poor or zero, because it's my first time to hear this. And this case is something that is very worrisome, because they are not able to deliver fully. Hearing from the founder of this Stammer Foundation, I see that she would have gotten far with her profession, but she says she hardly stands before a judge. And as a practicing lawyer, it is very worrisome. So if she had accessed this medical help from the onset, she will be far beyond where she is now. And I want to say, to charge the National Orientation Agency, that more of this sensitization should be done. Unlike us that are in the city are privileged to be here, there are rural communities and people that are less privileged that have no information at all. Even radio jingles, that medical help is available to those who stammer. We'll have more people that will be more productive in the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Okeravo. Still on the issue of medication. I don't know if the medication has a permanent effect or just for a short while. Does it cure stammer completely? Thank you.
Let me say that there are some medications that you use. You know that people have conditions sometimes that you take medication constantly. Diabetes, hypertension, you know, even some asthma, various things like the conditions. So this is a drug that a person will take the same way that anybody who has a chronic medical condition would take. Yes, there may be times that maybe after a while on the medication, the problem is gone and the person may not need the medication anymore. But since it's not addictive medicine, since it's not medication that is harmful, one can take it for as long as is needed.
Next on our list, we want to call Dr. Sam Amadi. He's a former NEC chef. Please let's give a round of applause to him.
Until I got this invitation, I easily forgot I used to stammer, or I stammer. I don't know which one, but when I got it, I said, oh yeah, I'm actually a stammerer. And if I recall well, half of my family members stammer. My children, I think more than half do stammer. But it seemed to me, and looking back at my own time, whether I had serious discrimination or impediment, I would say because probably it wasn't chronic in that sense. But I do recall that, of course, sometimes people will make fun of you. But I have one good friend, very smart, Dr. Iko Okonta, one of the smartest guys I know, who is a very, very chronic one. And when we are conversing, he would appear like the error they pointed out. It could take like 10 to 20 seconds, actually, before he could call the next word. And you'll be tempted to help, and but you hold back. He went on to Oxford, to everywhere in the world, and is well regarded and always part of our conversation. And so I'm supposed to say briefly about no limits. But I guess I will start by saying there's actually limits. I don't think there's no limit to anything. There's actually a limit. But the good news is that limits are far-fetched. There are limits to everything, limits to abilities, what we can do. But what God has helped us to do, to have our strengths, and somebody made a good point here about projecting on strength. You build your life around maximizing your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses. Again, another point I would like to make is we've learned a lot about the science of resilience. And one of the things that's clear about human beings, about systems, is that resilience is a function of three things. One, what I can call realism, knowing who you are, admitting the issues around a system, realism. I have cancer, I have X. Second, about resilient people is that apart from they have a purpose for their life, they have kind of they derive meaning beyond their condition. So if people are handicapped in a particular way, let's say they're disabled, let's say that they don't have, they're blind or they're lame, all kinds of disability. Once they realize that their life goes beyond that impediment, they're going to be resilient. And the last thing about resilience is that improvisation. Resilient people know how to improvise gradually, and then they achieve, not necessarily, they don't take a quantum leap over that disability or that handicap, but they improvise, and that's the idea about creativity. And by the way, we have more evidence of people who are different, let me use that way, who have achieved much more. So the diversity of life is both the diversity of color, the diversity of strengths and weaknesses, and even the diversity of disability. I recall a professor when I was a grad student at Harvard who told me that one of his colleagues in Paris went and parked a car. It's a handicap park place. So he parked the car there. And the French police walked down to him and said, my friend, you've committed an offense. He said, this is for handicap. And the guy says, look at my skin, I'm black. And therefore I'm handicapped. So in that context, being black is a disability. So there are many disabilities we carry. But the message there is that we cannot, if you look around, but how we overcome is important. I like the part about society, and Madam did a good job of discrimination and stigmatization. If we don't have a manageable perspective, we'll try to solve the whole problem. We're not going to change people's bias overnight, but we can ensure that the public space is removed, all forms of discrimination is for the public space. So people's private biases get cured over time when the public space shows a different picture. That's why it's important that the work of advocacy, the work of legal reform, institutional reform is critical, because taking the whole behemoth of people's bias and their stupidity and silliness would actually impede progress in this area. And then finally, I would like to make this point very clear. There's a 21st century malaise or problem that I think we should run away from. Is the deliberate creation of victimhood. People make themselves look like victims all the time. We have perfected the art of multiplying even disability when they are not there because of what has become identity politics. So people who are fat, will claim that as if fatness is a problem, and then they inundate public space with issues of they're being victimized, and they create a sorority, a group of proud people, and they make a claim for difference. So it was good to deal with real differences, racial, sexual discrimination, disabilities that are clear, but it can create a sense in which we actually disable ourselves much more than our physical disability. And why I say this is that Madam made the good point that there are those who have clear case, extreme case that needs help and therapy, but there are those who probably, like us, who stammer small, and then we can carry on. So what we need to do is not to get trapped, like maybe a small person whispers somewhere and we take it to heart and we feel bad. It will disable. Part of how to live beyond your disability is actually to pretend to some extent that you're not disabled and you not have problem and you carry on. Like the Apple founder said, Steve Jobs, he said that the greatest blessings and achievements in this world, innovations, have been done by those who felt they were different and who acted differently. So I would encourage us, those of us who stammer and our comrades who stammer more than we do, that nothing to us. Let's harness our strengths, let's show the difference, and ultimately success procures acceptability. Thank you very much.
Also, I want to recognize some personality that stepped in while the program was going on. I want us to also recognize Dr. Adebayo Shitu, the former Minister of Communication. Please, a round of applause to him. It's not easy. I also want to recognize Mr. and Mrs. Obu, the in-laws to our executive director. Let's give a round of applause to them. Because sometimes when their son will bring her to see them, they may say, this one is stammering. If people have children now, our grandchildren will be stammering. But we thank God that their parents did not say that. Let's give a round of applause to them again. I also want to recognize Pastor Sunday Adebolo. He's the executive pastor of the Transforming Church, TTC Kwarimpa. Thank you, sir, for coming. And also, Dr. Michael Olipali stepping is from the World Bank Group. He's going to take us on Be Yourself. Dr. Michael Olupali is an alumnus of University of Ilorin and Harvard University. He's an international development expert. He currently works as a health specialist with the World Bank. A natural born leader, he has served in leadership positions locally and abroad. He was the president of Ilorin University Medical Student Association, vice president of Unilorin Student Union, president of Harvard University class of 2001. He is a two-time aspirant for House of Representative and senior technical advisor to the immediate past governor of Osun State. Let's give a round of applause to him as he comes on stage to take us on Be Yourself. Please, a round of applause to him until he gets here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to really appreciate the opportunity I have here to speak to us, particularly the organizer of this program. And I'm very sorry for coming late. Having organized several programs in time past, I'm still organizing a program. I understand the value of keeping to your program when people are supposed to speak. So I'm really sorry for coming late. And I want to appreciate the opportunity I have to speak with you and for everybody that I hear. I recognize the presence of the Honorable Minister of Communication and my pastor, Pastor Sunday, and everybody here. So what I've been asked to speak on is to be yourself. like Dr. Sam Amadi said, there are levels of disability in almost in everybody. Disability doesn't have to be physical. It can even be financial. It can even be where you are born. Even being born in Nigeria might be disability. Anything can serve as disability. Whatever serves as like a limit to your aspiration in life, it kind of disability. So let's not think about disability in terms of physical alone, but even the milieu that we find ourselves, where we are born, because nobody chooses his or her parents. A child is born to a poor family, he has no option, he just finds himself there. He will have loved to be born into a rich family. So anything can serve as disability. But the most important thing is not to focus on our weakness, but focus on our strengths. People quote all these great speakers, great people that have made it in life. For me, the most important person that I quote, that's my role model. The person that inspired me a lot, even to today, is my mom. We were born into what we call poverty, as in real poverty. Real poverty. When I got to Harvard and we were having a program, and they said we were going to order for Senegalese food. And they brought Senegalese food. Here and there, I found boiled cassava as part of Senegalese food. And people were eating it. Oh, so sweet, beautiful. I said, me, the thing where they chop when I was so poor, I would not come to Bodo Imbo and come and be chopping the same thing. God forbid. That I've left that level. That's kind of thing when we talk about boiling cassava. I'm sure most of us we can't relate. Because we don't have that disability. So whatever, being born even in a poor family can be disability. But my mom always encourages us to say, don't let your environment, your immediate surrounding, set a limit to you where you want to get to. Because you are very poor does not mean that you cannot attain anything. And that really, really encourages all of us. We are 8. My dad, this 30th year, but my dad died. So it was very tough. But out of all the 8 of us, the minimum person, maybe only one or two, she has a university degree. Almost every other person has a master's or a doctorate degree amongst us. So it was tough. At the time, we were like 5 of us in university at the same time. And I was studying medicine. And my mom, a primary school teacher, was able to raise, by the grace of God, all the 8 of us in university. But because of what you always say, that aim for the best, don't allow your environment to limit you. All my life, I've never settled for the second best. When I finished medical school from Ilorin, the great in Ilorin, I said, okay, I want to do housemanship. I had the opportunity of just doing like a 2 weeks elective national hospital. National hospital of those days when it was real national hospital. That place, it was like the thing that you see in videos, in movies, and all these videos. If I must do my job there, it must be in Nigeria, it must be this place. Who do I know that will take me there? But somehow, it's a long story. I found myself working there. When I finished, I said, okay, I want to do my master's in public health. So where should I go to? I said, okay, I should go to the best of the best in the world. How will I fund this? Whatever. That's not a case. That's why somehow I found myself at Harvard University. This is somebody from Okuku, the local government, one village there where even black and white television you cannot even see. Going to Harvard. When I go to Harvard, because of the way we are, because of your intonation. Sometimes in my first day of class, when you ask a question, your colleague, your classmates will help interpret what you said in English to your lecturer. But the way, because I'm a natural born leader, I'm always in the front. I always speak in class. Anywhere I find myself, I always speak. No matter who's on the podium, I will ask questions. I'm not afraid. Do you understand? So in my class, despite that, I will participate in class, asking questions. So there's no way you don't know me in my school. And you go to that extent, we're looking for 2 students to be part of a committee for the university. They will call Michael Luke Billy to come and join them. And when we graduated, Bill Richardson came to our school and he said, okay, if you know you're a leader, don't let anything disturb you. If you have an opportunity, go and grab it. The worst that will happen is you will not get it. Abi? So, he announced that we are going to have a president of the class. Ah, okay. I said, well, me too, I can do it now. I nominated myself. And I contested against 4 other students. One of them was the current student union government vice president. Another one was the social secretary of the student union government, who just organized a social week a week before. And the school everybody was there. And these are people that go after lecture, they'll say, okay, Michael, what do you have for this evening? What's your plan? Me, I don't have any plan. It's my room. They will go for a drink, go and do everything. So in effect, I'm not that sociable in their own standard. So, contesting against a social secretary, a student government vice president, the parliamentary chairman was also there. Oh, I won the election. I won. So at the end of the day, when I won the election, I sent an email to my former provost in my medical school. Wait, oh God, see what I'm doing in Navado. The guy did not even ask for my permission. He just sent the mail to Lauren Bulletin. The next thing, all the newspaper in Nigeria just published the thing. My school saw it. You alumni, shine at Harvard. That was title. My school saw it, and they were so happy. Michael, come and see. This is very good. Okay, you don't know where I'm coming from. Anyway. So on the day of our commencement, that's the graduation. You know one of the proudest moments of my life is that I stood in front. Everybody in my set and me. 4 countries, including those that are getting their PhD and masters, everybody came behind me. This is somebody from Okuku, Oduoti local government of Osun State. That has ate pounded cassava, not pounded yam, pounded cassava to survive. And you even make yam flour. No, it's cassava peel flour. Anyway, let's not talk about it. And it's now the one in front. All of them now queue behind me. So the important thing, when I'm saying this story is that there is no limit. Let's not look at ourselves as whatever we have as a disability. Like Dr. Madi was saying, honestly, until Barrister Julie said, okay, Stammer Foundation, I didn't consider myself as a stammerer, seriously. Because it never crossed my mind. In fact, as much as possible, if not because of the love I have for her and her husband, I would not have wanted to do anything to do with that, because you are reminding me of things that I'm not even aware I am or I was. Do you understand? If anybody comes, the president of Nigeria comes here today, I will say, Mr. President, Nigerians are not happy. I will tell him, that's the kind of person I am. I will always speak up. Do you understand? So, the summary of everything is that we should be ourselves. Let's not place limitation on ourselves. There's a way God created the way we are. Accept it. If there's something you can change, like the extreme end, like as the psychiatrists have said and the spiritual therapists will say, work towards changing it. But if you cannot, that's not the end of the world. Moses in the Bible, for those that are Christians, in fact, God was very angry with him. I'm sending you to go and be a deliverer. You are just saying, hey, I cannot speak. Who created the mouth and the speech itself? So there's nothing. God already knows the assignment that He has for all of us before He brought us to the world. Our job is to see, let's dream big and work towards getting the biggest heights that God will make us to achieve. And finally, I want to really appreciate the organizer for putting this together. But let's not put this in our conscious mind. I'm a stammerer. Some people, that's the reason why when they say a closed mouth is a closed destiny. Abi? When you're supposed to talk, they will say I'm stammering, so maybe they will pick it up. But you need to be known. The way people get to know is by what? By speaking out. We have a new country director in my office now. He just resumed me. The day he came and said, okay, what is it that you want? Everybody ask question. I said, okay, excuse me, sir. what is it that you are? I have an assignment for you. He said he came to come and resume. He's not resuming yet, but he came to come and familiarize himself with us. He now had like 2 months to go and prepare to resume. I said, okay, I want to give an assignment for 2 months. Don't answer my question now. Go and think about it for 2 months. After you finish, you now come back and come and tell us, what is it that you are going to do differently? That people in the country office and the people at the HQ, there will not be gap between them. Otherwise, many of us that are well read, that study abroad and everything, before you get to know it, we want to move out and go to the country and go to the headquarters. And this is where we are needed. Nigeria needs all of us and everything. The guy knew from that day, Michael. Do you understand? Let's not close our mouth. Let's not be conscious of this, our disability. God that made us, He knows where, He knows why, and He knows where He's taking us. Our purpose in life will fulfill. Thank you so much.
Round of applause for him, please. I don't know, have you ever laughed yourself when you stammer? Or have you ever heard about edge? Have you? I remember I called somebody on the phone. I was using Nokia, the small type, many years ago. So when I heard the echo of what I said, I laughed at myself. I'm proud to be a stammerer, and today is our day. I want to thank everyone who has come up here to share ideas and information, and I know definitely we all who have gathered here, I also appreciate everyone. And the next topic, we are about to call the next speaker. I want us to listen attentively. It's talking about the power of communication. And it's also like what Dr. Michael said, that where a closed mouth is a closed destiny. One way or the other, it has affected us. Because most times when we are to speak, we refuse to speak, and things pass us by. But from today, we are to be ourselves. And sometimes too, when you prepare yourself, thinking that you are not going to stammer, spend all the night rehearsing what you've wrote down. But at the end of the day, when you get there, so be yourself is the best strategy for us to be able to overcome that. I want us to welcome Dr. Adebayo Shitu. He is the former Minister of Communication. He is the right person for this topic. He was born 23rd March 1953 from Oyo State. He has written over 13 books. He was a former member of Oyo State House of Assembly at the age of 26. Let's give a round of applause for him. Also a former Commissioner for Information and Attorney General and Oyo State Commissioner for Justice. So you're welcome, sir.
On behalf of the organizers of today's program, also welcome everybody to this program. Let me start also by apologizing for coming late. I was conscious of the fact that Nigerians will remain Nigerians, in the sense that we will refuse to start programs at the appropriate time. So I was expecting the organizer of the program to phone to say, we are about to start, please come over. Unfortunately, that call didn't come. And so I had to take it upon myself again to call her to say that, are you sure the program is still holding? And then she assured me that the program was actually midway, so I had to find my way here. Number two, I want to really commend the organizers of this program. This is one program that a lot of people will never imagine that it is an issue for national discourse. I have two sons from two different mothers who stammer. So when I got the invitation about today's program, I said this is interesting that, problems or issues that a lot of people don't think about we have in this, organizer, a concern and an initiative to try to use, the platform of the foundation to raise the consciousness of, stammering. I therefore believe that, and I'm happy that the NUC is here. I want to also believe that the NOA and all these other organizations are here. I think we should try to develop a platform to try to synergize all, capacities and capabilities to assist, the cause of those who stammer. I am happy that I've had the privilege of listening to part of the discussions by the panel, and I'm also happy that I've listened to, the man from NUC. I've listened also to Dr. Lubile, my abro from our upcountry, and also Dr. Amadi has spoken very well. So the charge that I want to give to all of us here is that from this moment, we should all be interested in finding, a solution or, to help those who stammer. I appreciate the fact that for those of us who don't stammer, we may not feel the heat of, the problem. But for those who stammer, they won't, a lot of times they don't find it easy. I used to have a friend in the University of Ife who stammers very, very seriously. He, read computer studies, and each time he wants to, talk on all issues, but always there's always that hindrance. I really appreciate my invitation to this program, and I want to assure you that whatever it takes for me to support whatever foundation is being set up to try to address this issue, you can always count on me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am asked to talk about the power of communications. If you look at the issue, it is not really about technical communications, but about general communications. And I want to start by welcoming again distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want to say that to be asked to speak at a gathering like this with an array of professionals assembled on an issue that is so emotional and so sensitive as stammering, presents its attendant challenges. First, to me as a lawyer who has to keep talking in and out of courts, and as a politician who also has to keep communicating, and again, I believe also the audience would also know that it is a challenge that we all must face. Last but not the least is those who are the subject matter of our discussion, those who stammer. There are also challenges to them. The challenges could simply be summarized as being the reason we all are gathered here. Lack of awareness on stammering is the main issue. One, as a lawyer who will like to take briefs in the shortest possible time and possibly pay little attention to friends, associates, and clients that stammer. Two, an audience that possibly has many people erroneously expecting that all of us invited for this awareness are stammerers. And thirdly, many of the people who stammer, that we have gathered here to raise awareness on their issue. Certainly, more often than not, we do have negative impressions about such people. Let me state here that in our effort to achieve success from this gathering, we must all converge at a point, and that point should be to have a very positive outlook towards those who are victims of stammering. Stammering, according to experts, is a speech disorder characterized by involuntary speech disruptions, which has an adverse impact on the quality of life of people who stammer. Manifestations of stammering vary from one language to another, especially when switching from the native language to a foreign language. Benjamin Nathaniel Borg, a chronic stammerer for almost 20 years, authored a book entitled Stammering, Its Cause and Cure. He said in the book, and I quote him, "I was laughed at for nearly 20 years because I stammered. I found school going a burden. I found college a practical impossibility and life a misery because of my affliction. I was born in Wabash County, Indiana, in the US, and as far back as I can remember, there was never a time when I did not stammer or stutter." In the book, he went on to tell us that he looked back at his school days as very miserable period of his life. Without missing words, stammering could be a burden because of the attendant issues. Since experts say stammering is a speech disorder, there is a need to understand the issue of stammering, its classifications, effects, and the possible way out. I'm happy our doctor has given us some inkling as to, some solutions to it. At this juncture, we may ask ourselves, what are the causes of stammering? Number one, which we can identify, is that we have stammering resulting from carelessness in learning to speak. Number two, those which are of distinct mental form. And three, those caused by a physical deformity in the organs of speech themselves. I'm sure the medical practitioners will be able to define it more critically. Whichever of the speech disorders it is commonly spoken of by those of us, that is, those of us who do not stammer, the laymen, as a speech impediment, notwithstanding the fact that the characteristics of the various disorders are quite dissimilar. Anytime we hear the people with an inability to release a word, repeating a syllable several times before the following syllable can be uttered, substituting an incorrect sound for the correct one, or the utterances are defective merely in the imperfect enunciation of sounds and syllables due to some organic defect, and even with carelessness in learning to speak. We know that all of these are called stammerers. This defective pronunciation could have been caused either by a failure or an inability to observe others who speak correctly, or inability to properly imitate correct speech processes, resulting in the substitution of an incorrect sound for the correct one, with consequent faulty formation of words. Experts say stuttering, being the rapid repetition of a word or a syllable before the following word or syllable can be uttered, is often confused for stammering. So there's a distinction between stammering and stuttering. Since the awareness is on stammering, we need to understand that there are various types of stammering. The first one is elementary stammering, which is the simplest form of this disorder. There's also identified spasmodic stammering, which marks the stage of the disorder where the effort to speak brings a marked muscular contraction or pronounced spasmodic efforts, resulting in all sorts of facial contortions, grimaces, and uncontrolled jerking of the body, of the head, and of limbs. Last but not the least is thought stammering, which manifests itself in the inability of the stammerer to think of what he wishes to say. Now, the effects of stammering. Stammering is known to be at the root of many troubles. It causes nervousness, self-consciousness, and sometimes brings about a mental condition bordering on complete mental breakdown. It causes mental sluggishness, dissipates the power of concentration, weakens the power of will, destroys ambition, and stands between the sufferer and education. There is no affliction more annoying or embarrassing to its victim than stammering. I'm happy that one or two of the speakers earlier have said that we must not allow stammering to be seen as an impediment to our progress in life. No matter how bright the intellect may be, if the tongue is unable to easily and quickly formulate the words expressing the thought process, the individual is held back in business and is debarred from the pressures of social and home life. We heard about discrimination earlier. Stammering is no doubt a drawback to children in school. To be unable to recite means to a lot of people failure. It means to a lot of people humiliation. It means to a lot of people disgrace in the eyes of other peoples. And finally, it means valuable time being wasted, not in getting an education, but in suffering untold mental anguish. At this juncture, permit me to share with you here that whatever the experts say about stammering, the disorder cannot and must not limit people who stammer. We have a few examples of stammerers in Nigeria who have attained the ultimate in their lives and in their professions. The life of the late winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief Moshood Kashima Wabiola, is a testimony as he stammers so terribly. I hope some of us must have watched him on television or listened to him. He was a stammerer, but he achieved the ultimate in his accounting profession and in business and also in politics. Also, the Fuji music legend, Chief Sikiru Ololade Ayinde Balogun, popularly called Sikiru Ayinde Barrister, is another testimony as he also stammers. And yet, a lot of people enjoyed his music because he tried to conquer the defect or the deficiency in his linguistic prowess. According to Benjamin Bow, the writer we referred to earlier, little more than 96% of the causes of stammering could be traced to the following. 1. Mimicry or imitation. 2. Fright or severe nerve shock. 3. Fall or injury of some sort. 5. Hereditary. And I think this one is a more pervasive one. When your father or mother stammers, the likelihood is that the child would also stammer. And last but not the least is disease, which may be mental, so on. So these are the identified causes of stammering. The way out. Since it is evident that stammering could be caused by different factors, it is very essential that from the very beginning of the child's life, the child is shown the correct and customary utterances with the best method of its accomplishment. The child should not be subjected to constant repetition of phonetic defects, imperfect utterances, or speech disorders of any sort. The child who hears none but perfect speech is not liable to speak imperfectly, or at least not so liable. Indeed, the child who hears wrong methods of talking in use at all times cannot escape the effects of his or her environment. The period in the child's speech development, dating from the 2nd year up to the 6th year, is called the formative period in speech development, for the reason that this is the time when the child is busy learning new words, acquiring new habits of speech, coordinating and learning properly to associate the flood of ideas which overwhelm the child's mind during this period. Parents should note that vocabulary is nothing but an echo of vocabulary at the home front. The words that have been used most frequently are most strongly impressed upon the child's mind. This is also applicable to teaching of even morals. Whatever the cause of the child's trouble in speaking, care should be taken to see that it grows no worse, and every attempt should be made to eradicate it at the early stage. And I'm happy that we are told that there's, a medical solution to it, particularly if it is attended to at the earlier stage of the child's development. Like a fire, speech disorders in their early stages are insignificant compared to their future progress and can be much more readily eradicated then than later. Many people say, and I dare say wrongly, that let the case alone and it will outgrow its defects. No treatment could be more foolish than this, particularly if it is left unattended to. No advice could be more ill. Parents of children who stammer should therefore consult experts, and I'm happy we have one of them here, as soon as such defects are observed. Though there are cases of incurable speech impediments, however, with positive mindsets, all stammering issues could be managed, if not totally eradicated. Since we are aware that stammering can be cured, people who stammer should not hesitate to look for solutions. The society should not take advantage of people who stammer. The society should also never deny people who stammer of various opportunities. And I think in formulating ideas for government to translate into law, these rights of stammerers, like the rights of other disabilities, should be taken into consideration. I want to thank you for granting me the opportunity to be part of this conference on stammering awareness, and I wish us all success in finding relief to the issue of stammering in our society. Thank you so much. May God bless you.